What's up, guys? Welcome to Kind of Funny's reactions to WandaVision, the MCU's return. Phase 4 begins. Every week, we're going to be doing quick reactions to what we thought about WandaVision on Disney Plus. This week, they dropped episodes 1 and 2. Going forward, they'll be dropping one episode a week, and we're going to be here each and every week until the finale, where this will move over to MCU in review, and we will rank the entire season alongside the rest of the MCU. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Good morning.
The big dog, Kevin Coelho.
Oh.
Andy Cortez.
Good morning.
You look good in black and white, baby.
Thanks, Tom.
And Greg Miller.
I enjoy it. You want him quick? All right, Andy, hit the plot song. Let's go. I got a fucking motor. I'm gonna have a motor.
No plot for this one. This isn't in review. This is different. This is us reacting. Greg Miller, what did you think about the return of the MCU?
God, how good was it just to see that Marvel Studios logo come up? Are you kidding me? And have that moment again of like, oh, I don't know what's about to happen. Both episodes I adored. I thought were great. You know, as somebody who was raised in many ways by sitcom reruns, watching that first episode and being like, oh my God, they are nailing I Love Lucy in such a fast, like I don't think Elizabeth Olsen or Paul Bettany, for that matter, get enough credits for being acting in this. Like the way they both have to change their performance to fit that I Love Lucy thing, to then fit a Bewitched, it's amazing what they did.
Andy.
I'm with Greg. I thought it was I thought it was interesting. I thought it was unique and weird, and I love that. As the episodes went on, we started getting more and more of these hints to what is possibly happening. And I just love the tone shift. You're waiting for the tone shift. You're waiting for the moment for this sort of the fourth wall to be broken. And when it happens, it's really, really cool. And I just love how we get more and more hints as to what the hell is possibly happening in this universe. I think that ratio is going to, get more and more on the side of what is actually happening, but it's just so cool seeing them commit to such a weird concept.
Kev.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Same with Greg. Like, I grew up watching these sitcoms, so watching this was just like, oh man, they are parroting this very, very well. And then it has those moments where it breaks. So at the close to the end of the dinner, which I think that was the first episode, right? The dinner
Correct.
party?
Yeah, with the hearts. Yeah.
Yeah. When he starts choking and the mom from that 70s show is like, stop it, and it gets more serious and the shot gets tighter and tighter and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Same thing with the when they have the radio kick on and you hear the radio kind of be like, Wanda, what's going on? And it's just like
Who's doing this?
The hints of something that is going on is so interesting, and they got me, man. I'm so ready for the next episode. It ended, and I was like, why isn't there a fucking trailer?
That's what I meant to say by
3.
fourth wall. I don't know why I said fourth wall breaking, but that's exactly what I was talking about. Why did I say fourth wall? It's early in the morning for me. Sorry.
Well, it kind of is fourth wall breaking because one of the things I like, I really like the series too, by the way. Thanks for throwing to me, Tim. But what I thought they nailed was the difference between the way traditional shows are shot and those old school like 3-cam shows are shot, right? Totally. So if you notice, like when they're stuck in the world and there's no break with reality, it's very, very just like. You're seeing that wide shot, everything's playing off like you would see I Love Lucy, where they're coming through and they're just picking each other up on different cameras in the studio. And then when those moments go where they break the reality and something weird happens, they move in for more traditional coverage. You have the close-ups, you have a better depth of field, and all that stuff looks so cool, and it's so off-putting to just be in that like bewitched I Dream of Jeannie world for a second and then have it cut to a close-up of Elizabeth Olsen and have like you see a dolly in a traditional like what we would think is traditional filmmaking now. Of course, back then it wasn't for TV. It's so off-putting.
And the veil is lifted,
it's so cool. And then the color shifts with when she does find those things of color, which always remind me of Pleasantville, which I made a mental note about 2 months ago to go back and watch Pleasantville, but I haven't done it yet. So this is going to remind me to do that. I just think it's so well done. And the cast, and shout out to Catherine Hahn, who plays the neighbor, who is just hamming it up and just enjoying the shit out of this role.
Well, they're both doing it, right? Her and Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, for that matter, are eating it up and doing like Lucy and Ethel are what they're doing that entire time, right? And they're nailing with the like just their intonation, right, as they go.
But they're balancing it so perfectly with they're nailing it. But there's something else there, right? Are they like, you know what I mean? It's hard to put your finger on, but like they don't fit in this world. And that's so hard for actors to do. But when you have actors of that caliber, I'm just so blown away by the fact that they got Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen to do these roles again for a series like this. This really, I was like halfway through the first episode. I'm like, this is next level shit. This is going to be such a cool tool in the MCU arsenal to have going forward if they can hit this level of intrigue.
That's my thing, man. It's like this being the first ever Marvel Studios TV show. It's like, if this is a hint of what we're about to get for the rest of time, like, I am so in. I love that they are playing with the format, and this is something that we couldn't have gotten in a movie. If it was in a movie, it would have happened way quicker, and it's not the slow build of commitment that they're obviously doing here. I'm shocked that they're committing to one episode per decade of style of sitcom, and I'm like Andy said, I'm sure it's going to get a little bit more rapid as we go, but the fact that the first 2 episodes were very firmly in very different eras, I was so impressed with their level of commitment to making stories that, like Greg was saying, feel genuine to the time and to the era of what that plot was trying to do, but also sprinkling in so many things where I was like on the edge of my seat with the dialogue, like trying to catch on to see what's going on. Like, there's so many fun little hints of Marvel stuff that they start like dropping throughout it, where I'm just like, this is so fucking cool. Like, 2 things that are fairly obvious, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but the commercial break stuff was both times really cool. The first time with the Stark thing, obviously, with the sound of the repulsors going off, and it's like, obviously that's allusion to the Stark bomb that kills their parents in Age of Ultron.
And the red light was the only thing, that was the first thing we saw in color.
Yeah, and then the second commercial is the Strucker watch with the Hydra logo on it. And cool. Strucker was the guy that was doing the experiments on them in Age of Ultron. I'm like, this is about to be fucking incredible. And I just love that we have already talked about it a lot, but all the moments of breaking were scary, legitimately scary. We keep hearing talks about Doctor Strange 2 being a bit more of like having horror elements. It's like, we're starting to see what that's going to look like in this. And I'm just absolutely impressed with this, and I can't wait for the next couple of weeks, because we know they're going all the way to the 2000s, and like, what's the Office gonna look like?
Yeah, it's so unique in that these are like, you know, I'm not like you all. I didn't really grow up reading a whole lot of comics, but I know enough that this series feels like one of those series runs that just would never be able to be turned into like a TV or a movie. Like, it feels like this is one of those wacky ass runs that you see and you're like, oh, interesting. You know, Captain America in this run, he's gonna be a teddy bear the whole time. How's that gonna work? Like, just one
Great
of those
run.
weird ass.
One of my favorite.
Yeah, one of my favorites too, Greg. But this just all feels like something like that you would never expect that they would actually make an attempt to turn into TV or a movie or whatever, and let alone the fact that it's good. Like, it's just so I'm just so ready for it. I'm so happy MCU is back, man.
Hell yeah, man.
What do we think about the end of the first episode and the like weird sword logo?
So it's cool. I don't know if you noticed, Kev, the sword, it's different words than the comic sword. So the comic sword usually deals with more otherworldly things.
Sword and shield, by the way, for context for people. Is that what it is?
Yeah. The sword, like sword and shield, different components
different
of the teams. But
Pokemon.
This one was more, I'm blanking on what it was, but the other one was like, this is sentient weapons instead of otherworldly something or other. So it's like they're dealing with Wanda being a sentient weapon.
Interesting. So you think they have her in a sword facility, and she's, because it's clearly all this stuff is happening in her head, right?
I mean,
I don't know.
I love that we don't know. It's like, is she like causing, because the fact that they're actually watching these shows in real life is like the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah, that is true. Like,
It's the most Metal Gear Kojima shit where, you know, where the person at the end is all watching it, and then, you know, cuts to the credits, and immediately then you're just sort of sucked in, because I love when media does this. I love when something isn't quite what it seems, and there's a larger thing, you know, there's people behind, you know, pulling the puppet strings. It's so interesting, and I'm so intrigued by all of it.
I can't wait to see how they reveal this.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think this is something that's just in her head. I think that like something has happened. I think it's her fault. I mean, obviously, at the end of the second one, she's in control, at least some aspect of it, because she
to
does
be able to
the
rewind,
thing,
right?
Rewind time, yeah. So I think that it's in her head. No, I think that something has happened to her, and she's like created a bubble that like has this
Like
world.
we saw in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like like a Pleasantville style pub. Is there anything scarier than a dude coming out of a sewer main
with bees? He's
with
fucking
bees surrounding him?
He's a goddamn literal Metal Gear villain coming out to fight them or whatever.
It's just like no.
That's the thing about it. Where I think it's such an interesting right now trying to figure out what's going on. Such an interesting idea to kick around and go about it. I think that. People are watching her in this thing. And obviously if we want to piece together the trailer, we've seen the bubble, we've seen, the FBI running at it, we've seen the outside MCU real world trying to intrude on this. My thoughts would be like it's a shared delusion, right? Because we have Agnes in there. We have what's her name? Renee? No, Monica Rambeau, right? Yeah, who's the grown-up woman from the grown version of the Captain Marvel little girl. Like she's in there too, and she has a break in episode 2, right? Where she is like, why? I don't, like she starts to get it.
Yeah.
And then if you go and rewatch, as soon as we finished episodes 1 and 2, we went and rewatched the trailer and like, see it there. You see Agnes break too in that of like, are you doing like, I would imagine that Scarlet Witch signed up for something and it went awry and she sucked these other people in and now won't let anybody out. Like, I think it's being set up that she's a victim of this, but I think it's going to be, she's also kind of the perpetrator of it. Like she can't let go of Viz.
Because they keep asking her questions, and that's what's causing her to break. Is like the questioning of her, and it sounds like that whoever's asking her questions in real life are asking through code, and like she realizes that at some point, and is like, it almost feels like some Bucky shit with the.
They're trying to like deprogram her or whatever, yeah.
Because like whenever there's like a line of questioning, it hits a point where like you hear the like high pitched like kind of ringing, and she like kind of like freaks out. Which
she starts waking from the dream.
Cool.
I think. Yeah,
but I mean, just from
on the radio, I think the radio is Randall Park. Do you think that's what that is?
Probably.
Oh, it sounds like him. Yeah. Or it's like
You're
Wanda,
right.
who's doing this? Who's doing this to you? Whatever.
Yeah, Wanda, who's doing this to you, and it's gonna turn out she's doing it to herself.
I hope.
Yeah. The cool thing though is the Catherine Hahn's character is probably based on. Her name's Agnes in this. There's a character in the comics named Agatha, which I'm pretty sure she's based on. And
she's like a witch that taught her how to do stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's like good guy, bad guy, but like often bad guy type thing. Like definitely like Loki-esque in some ways. Yeah. But the interesting thing that she said is there was one line in the second episode where she mentioned the devil, and there's like, well, that's not the only place it is, or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mephisto is another Marvel character, bad guy that like has been rumored to be involved in Doctor Strange too. So I think that we're gonna see some shit.
Man, what a fun way to have storytelling. To go week to week. We always talk about. We always have the issue of the week to week, and I know Nick hates it. I love it. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited that week after week we can keep on having these theories and talk about it. But this time it's like this isn't just any other show thing. This is a show tied to one of our favorite universes, a thing that's so near and dear to our hearts. It's so exciting. I'm just stoked.
It's just my one criticism with it always is like, am I going to remember to watch this on next Friday?
You will.
And of course I will, because we're doing these reactions, right? But if I were a person who didn't make content for a living, this might slip a little bit for me. And I think that's unfortunately would do a disservice, because I really like the storytelling in this so far. Again, I love how they do that mix of traditional sitcom to conventional shooting. I think it's all cool, and I want to see all that unfold over. I want to see it all unfold together, because I just love that. And I guess maybe part of me is just craving that movie MCU experience where I want to see something. I want to sit and see an MCU thing from start to finish. But you know what? It's good. So I'll shut the F up.
That's the thing. Historically, I'd be there with you. I love to binge this kind of stuff, or I don't know, stuff in general. But I think the fact that MCU, we've been through a drought, and usually you only get 2 hours of it anyway. Today, I felt satiated. I can't wait for more. I had hopes in episode 2 that the walls would crack a bit more and we'd see a little bit more light from the outside world in there. But I'm not hung up on it. I can't wait for more. I'm stoked.
I hope
definitely can't wait for more.
I hope by episode 4 the walls are cracking more and we're getting hints of what's going on out there. Because like that's the thing. Yeah, these 2 episodes were fun, but if we have a whole season where everything's just filler and we're just getting thrown little hints, I think that they learned from what Mandalorian season 1 and then season 2, how different those seasons were.
That's the one thing I didn't. That's the one thing I didn't like about Mandalorian was they didn't tease you enough of what was going on. Right, we got the Baby Yoda, but then they didn't keep that going enough for me in season 1 to be like, where is he going to go with this? To me, I was like, I guarantee the first one's going to start. We're going to get a little bit of what's going on. Second one, we're going to get a little bit more of what's going on, and it's going to be just enough and perfect enough peppered in to keep me super interested and intrigued. And it reminded me of X-Files and Fringe and all those things, like what's going on, and that's perfect. And this just remember, it reminds me rather that the MCU and the guys and the people behind it are just so good at what they do.
We got 9 episodes of this. If I had it my way, the first 6 would all be exactly like this, just given a lot of hints. And the last 3, let's go all out and have a fucking movie that like an MCU traditional movie. And that's going to be fucking awesome. We'll be back next week with our reactions. Let us know what you thought, all of that in the comments below. Until next time. Love you guys.